Coming in at number 50 is Ice Spice. Ice Spice with her big song Munch. I'm surprised she's on this list. It's a bit too early in my opinion for her to be on this top 50 rappers of all time from New York. But she has got a big buzz right now. She's blowing up. So we can't be mad at that. Coming in number 49 is Pharoah Monch, the conscious rapper who used quite a lot of jazz production in his raps and has collaborated with people like Busta Rhymes, Method Man, Redman. Probably the most known song he's done in the past is the one we did with Nate Dogg and Mos Def called Oh No. Coming in number 48, I'm surprised he's even on the list, is Diddy, Puffy, Sean Combs, whatever you want to call him. He's not even a rapper. I mean, it's arguable if he's even a producer. He's a boss, he's a record label, very good entrepreneur, but I'm surprised he's in the top 50 rappers list. Big songs, of course, all about the Benjamins, I Need a Girl. But yeah, it shouldn't be on the list, this list in my opinion. Coming in 47 is Biz Markie. His biggest song was Just a Friend, where Mario did a remake of that song in 2002. He had big songs like Make the Music with Your Mouth, because obviously he was a beatboxer, Picking Boogers. Snoop Dogg remade his song Vapors as well. Remember that. I would have thought he'd be a bit high on the list, but that's an alright position. Coming in 46 is Styles P from The Lox. He was the youngest member of the trio from Yonkers. Styles' biggest song probably known for is I Get High. I liked his offbeat kind of rap style. Them lot were known for like their street raps. He had the nickname of the hardest MC as well. I think he should have been high on the list. I think that's a bit of a disservice to put him at 46. Coming in at number 45 is Jim Jones, member of the Dipset from Harlem. His biggest song was We Fly High, Ballin'. Bit of a rock star rapper, you know. He brought in like the Skull Gang sort of outfits in about 10-15 years ago. Jim Jones was never really meant to be a rapper. He was really bad at the beginning. I think that's a decent position for him because I think he's had a good, very extensive, long career, and considering he wasn't really a rapper, he's done well. Coming in number 44 was Grand Poobah, very positive vibe type of rapper. He's done songs with Mary J. Blige. A bit before my time, he's rapping the 80s type of era, 80s, early 90s, but solid position for him. Coming in number 43 is one of the forefathers of hip-hop, Melly Mel, known for his song with his group Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. The song, the message was a big song about conscious rap. He kind of made conscious rap a thing in hip-hop. Iconic song, so it has to be on the list. He probably think he should be higher, and for his impact, you could arguably say he should be much higher on the list. Sean Price, not familiar with the rapper, but I know he's from Brooklyn. He had like a raspy voice, kind of a gully voice, but he always kind of like never made it to the mainstream. He was always kind of underground. But yeah, it kind of makes sense because he wasn't really a polished rapper like other people in his era. Coming in 41 is A$AP Rocky. A$AP kind of neglects music quite a lot. He's more into the fashion world. But yeah, I remember when they first came out, I did like his style because he kind of bit from Bone Thugs and Harmony, and he had with that singing kind of melodic style. It almost sounded like it was brand new because it hadn't been done for a while. But I like how he raps. I think that's a solid position for him. I liked his first album though. It was really good, the Long Live A$AP. And then he was quite good with the mixtapes as well. I liked his mixtapes as well. Coming in number 40 is Kool Moe Dee, known for his dark shades and his epic beef with LL Cool J. One of the most popular and most famous hip-hop beefs actually back in the day. He started in the late 70s with the Treacherous 3, but he was a cool rapper. Coming in number 39 is Nor, as known as Noreaga from Queens. He was in the group CNN with his partner in crime, Capone. Noreaga was Nor. He kind of broke through in the mid-90s with the LA song, which was a response to the Dog Pound's New York, New York. So they were kind of involved in the whole West Coast, East Coast beef as well. Obviously, Noah is a podcaster now, arguably the number one, but I think he's number 2 podcast in hip-hop. I think that's a good position for him. He was never really lyrical, so fair enough, 39. 38 is MC Lyte. one of my favorite female MCs, very aggressive on the microphone, almost rapped like a dude in a way. Her debut was in 1998. Light as a Rock was all it was called. Because weird, because she was rugged, but she also had like feminist kind of rhymes as well. Coming in number 37 is Ja Rule. I think Ja Rule should be a lot higher than this. I think the way his career ended because of 50, people don't respect his name a bit. But Ja Rule was a great rapper. He had a great run. He was like the Drake before Drake. He had so many hits, and he actually was like, he had some lyrics, you know, nothing that changed hip hop, but the amount of hits he had and the fact that he could rap very well, it makes him, I feel, a bit hard done by. Hit coming in 37. Coming 36 is Kool Keith. He was like one of those eccentric artists, like Danny Brown and Redman. He came out in the 80s, not very well known on the commercial landscape, but solid position. Coming in 35 was Old Dirty Bastard from the Wu-Tang Clan, one of the most original artists to ever come out in hip hop. He had his demons, like I think he had a lot of drinking and drug problems, but he had songs with Mariah Carey. I mean, you gotta be a big name in music to do a song with her, especially at that time in the 90s. Coming in 34 is Foxy Brown. Foxy Brown came in the game as a real youngster. She featured on Jay-Z's Ain't No off his first album, Reasonable Doubt, and she held her own. She was also in the group The Firm with Nas and AZ and Nature and Comega, and then like the producer was like Dr. Dre basically. Their first album kind of flopped commercially, but her first album, Il Nana, went platinum within a month, which was big back in the day. She was featured on songs like Touch Me, Tease Me as well, which was on the Nutty Professor soundtrack. Coming number 33 is the GZA from the Wu-Tang Clan, a rapper that had a smooth delivery, kind of like Snoop. In that era, in the early 90s and the late 80s, rappers were always known to shout on the mic, whereas GZA was quite smooth with it, and he also wasn't into talking about jewelry or money or anything material. He was more into quite insightful and philosophical rhymes. I think he even started lecturing later on in life, which I'm not surprised. Very lyrical and very understated rapper. Coming in number 32 is Fabulous. Fabolous from Brooklyn. Came up under like DJ Clue mixtape scene. But he was one of the very few, probably the best rapper to come from the mixtape scene to blow up in the commercial sense and do both parts very well. He was always quite braggadocious and slick with the one-line punchlines in hip-hop. His debut album was Ghetto Fabulous in the early 2000s and had big songs like Can't Deny It, Superwoman and Trade It All. I think Fabulous definitely should be a lot higher on the list. How Fabulous is not in the top 20 is unbelievable. Coming in at 31 is Fat Joe. Now, Fat Joe, respect it. He's been around for a long time, from the early 90s. Never been a real premier MC. Never been one of the top bunch of rappers. But you gotta respect his longevity. Always able to come out with a big hit once in a while, even if his albums don't do exactly that well. I believe he's fortunate to come up this high though on the list. Coming in number 30 is Kool G Rap. One of the biggest compliments Kool G Rap can say that he's had is Jay-Z mentioning him on this song where he goes, "Yeah, hearing me rap is like hearing G rap in his prime." And that was on Jay-Z's song Encore on the Black Album. But G-Rap, yeah, a lot of rappers from today and yesteryear have shouted him out as a big influence. Obviously Jay-Z, Nas as well, who's also from Queens, same as G-Rap. But he had a real gangster type of New York style of rap. He also had a real complex flow and style of rap. A really cool tonality. Number 29 is Big L from Harlem. Big L is one of those rappers that any rapper that's on now, if they had to say a rapper that would have had a very successful career, is Big L. Rapping Harlem, used to hang out with like Cameron and his group back in the day. Big songs like Ebonics, 98 Freestyle, Put It On. Put It On was a big song. I loved his style of rap. It was always very aggressive, very direct, very clean with each line. Very good rapper. Number 28 comes in Mace. Mace had one of those unique hip-hop voices, very monotone, slow style of rap. He had like big songs like Tell Me What You Want and Feel So Good. Obviously signed to Bad Boy, rapping with Puffy and Biggie back in the day. I think he would be higher on the list if he didn't retire from rap after the second album, because he kind of made the second album and kind of retired from rap either when it just came out or just before it came out, but still had big songs on that album as well. That song with Blackstreet, Get Ready. But Mase, yeah, very influential. Kanye was influenced heavily by Mase as well. He was big Mase up a lot when he first came in the game. Number 27 is Pop Smoke. Pop Smoke, I must say, rest in peace Pop Smoke, but shouldn't be this high on the list. The young guy, he made one album. It was a strong album. We all loved that song Dior. But I think with one album, you shouldn't be on number 27 of the top 50 best hip-hop, best New York rappers of all time. Coming in number 26 is Mr. Raekwon the Chef with the classic album Only Built for Cuban Links, with the classic song on there with Nas and Ghostface. Woo! Great album. Great album. A lot of good songs on that album. Raekwon is one of my favorite rappers, period. Like, definitely top 15 rappers of all time. He's got a complex rhyming style, very lyrical, like really typical Wu-Tang East Coast type of rap style. I think he should be higher on the list. I think he deserves to be higher, but can't complain about being in the top 20 something. Then you got Cardi B coming in at 25. Cardi B, all due respect, but how are you 25 on the list? Above Raekwon, above Fabulous, above Fat Joe? You gotta be kidding me. That she had a big impact on in the music industry. Probably the first female rapper to really make a splash since Nicki Minaj. Hence why they almost came to blows one time. But yeah, she shouldn't be on the top 25. I don't even think she writes. I think that's a known thing. She doesn't write her own raps. But obviously, yeah, that she's had big songs. Be Careful with Me, it was a good song. I really liked that one a lot, actually, myself. And then Bodak Yellow. And, you know, she's got lots of hits, to be fair. But yeah, shouldn't be on the top 25. But like I said before, we do not know complex criteria when it comes to this list. What's it based on? Is it based on hits? Is it based on popularity? Is it social media followers? Or lyrical? Never know. Coming in at 24 is Q-Tip. Had a very successful career with them. Then branched off to do his solo career, which he had a lot of nice little hits. You know, Breathe and Stop was like the big one that you can think about. But his debut was actually really solid. We had that in our house. I liked his tone. Very good tone of when he rapped. Very unique voice. Wasn't some lyrical giant or anything like that, but he was like a backpack rapper. Obviously, he's a very good producer as well. Produced on Nas's first album, Illmatic. But yeah, I think that's a solid position for Q-Tip. Coming in number 23 is 1/3 of Run DMC, and that is Run. Run is obviously a legend from the legendary group, coming from Queens. He was one of the guys that influenced like LL Cool J and a lot of the East Coast raps. And obviously they rocked Adidas, made it real popular. You know, classic songs like Sucker MCs, It's Tricky, Christmas in Hollis. You know, they were a great group. Coming in number 22 is Chuck D of Public Enemy. Chuck D, probably the face of conscious rap in hip hop. I mean, I know there's a lot of other people like Common, Mos Def, Talib Kweli, and everyone else, but he's like the face of it for me, in my opinion. Obviously, that, you know, his thing is always speaking about the black cause, but the big songs I record from Public Enemy, like Rebel Without a Pause, and obviously he's known for challenging the establishment. Coming in at number 21 is my guy Method Man. My top 3 rappers of all time. Method Man from the Wu-Tang Clan, with classic albums like Tikal and Tikal 2000. I mean, the album he came out in 98, Tikal Judgment Day. That was a blazing album. Had the classic song Breakups to Makeups with D'Angelo. Super lyrical. Only rapper that featured on Biggie's first album, Ready to Die. He was on The What, and he held his own. He didn't get bodied by Biggie at all. He had a grimy style in the beginning, like that husky voice and like kind of a street type of lyrical content. But his flow even today is like very polished. He still can do it, still mop up most people. Very underrated rapper.
I think he should be higher on the list. Shouldn't be 21. Coming in at number 20 is Slick Rick the Ruler. Slick Rick, known as one of hip-hop's best storytelling rappers. His classic album, The Great Adventures of Slick Rick, 1988. Yeah, Kanye West that bigged him up, called himself the new Slick Rick or Knock You Down. And even Nas, Slick Rick is like Jesus G-Rap wrote the Bible, a response to J. Cole's Let Nas Down. But Slick Rick, proper legend, 80s pioneer type of rapper. Then we go number 19, that's Big Daddy Kane. Big Daddy Kane, slick rapper. He was probably one of the most versatile rappers. Real smooth with his voice, but then also can get like very aggressive, like the song like he did Raw. That was a good song as well. Probably my favorite Big Daddy Kane song. He heavily influenced people like Biggie and Jay-Z. Jay-Z was under him as well, like at one point, almost like a mentor to Jay-Z. All from Brooklyn as well. Coming in at number 18 is Yasin Bey, otherwise known as Mos Def from Brooklyn. See, another Brooklyn representative. Most famous album he did was the Black on Both Sides, his debut album that really blew up. Well, I say blew up, it went gold, but it had big songs like Miss Fat Booty. That was a cool video as well. But I like Mos Def. He had that monotone thing like Mace, almost like he was mumbling when he rapped. But that's how he spoke as well, you know, if you see him in any of the movies. But yeah, Mos Def, very lyrical, great wordplay. Didn't make enough albums, then definitely didn't make enough good albums. Number 17 comes in Cameron, Dipset's leader, boss man, guy that made wearing pink look cool when it wasn't cool for guys back in the day. But Cameron, yeah, comes into that. Well, I think he should be higher, especially for New York. I think Cameron definitely should be like bare minimum top 10. I mean, my favorite Cam song is Oh Boy. Still think that's an underrated song, even though it did well. But a song that has no chorus, that just blasted through the airways in 2002. Love that album. But he's got some good albums, some kind of like cult classic albums, but nothing like that was like the biggest hip hop albums at the time. But definitely one of the best lyricists, definitely with the swag as well. You know, Cam definitely influenced a lot of the new rappers like Wiz Khalifa and them. Coming in at 16 is Jadakiss. How Jadakiss ain't top 5, bare minimum top 10 is unbelievable. This complex list is a bit whack, I ain't gonna lie. What are they basing it on? Jadakiss, fresh off like a versus victory with the Lox versus Dipset. Well, that was quite a while ago, but that was iconic. They were like big, the Lox and Jadakiss, on the mixtape scene, doing that street music. Punchlines, lyrical flow, bodied 50 in their beef. Like, this guy's record is flawless. The only thing you can say about Jadakiss is that he didn't sell many albums, didn't have like the biggest singles. Probably the most notable song he ever did in terms of commercially was when he did that song Why. Up next is Big Pun, Fat Joe's artist. Sadly didn't get to really have a long career, so I think that's a good placement for him in the list. He's one of my favorite rappers. Fantastic flow, great rhythm, lyrics. I mean, the Punisher song with the R&B singer Joe on it. Classic song. It's also unfortunate he only lived for one album. They put out like an album after when he died, but he didn't really get to see that success as such. Love the line in the first album. He goes, "Dead in the middle of Little Italy." You gotta go check it out. That's off his first album, which was called Capital Punishment. Up next, MF Doom. MF Doom I wasn't really a big fan of. I didn't fully know his music like that, but MF Doom, rest in peace. He wasn't commercially that successful, but he's definitely had a cult following. He definitely deserves to be on the list. Number 13 comes in Ghostface Killer. Definitely one of my goats in hip hop. His rap style, his tone of voice can't even be matched. Nobody's ever tried to sound like him except for Action Bronson, who sounds a lot like him. But you know, there was a bit of conflict when Action Bronson came in because he sounded just like him. But his classic album, Supreme Clientele, I love the Malcolm X song on that album. That beat is just crazy. That album was so good that people felt like he didn't even write the album. But yeah, it was almost like an extension to Wu-Tang. It had that Wu-Tang sound. It was like a really top-notch street kind of record. Coming in number 12 is Lil' Kim. I think that's where Nicki Minaj got a lot of her image from. That over-sexualizing image of herself came kind of Lil' Kim's mold, really. But Lil' Kim wasn't known to be a writer. Biggie was known to write her raps, and whoever else knows, Cameron wrote Crush on You apparently. Whether he wrote her part, I don't know. But Kim's had a great career. I think I prefer her to Nicki Minaj, but I think that's a solid position for Lil' Kim to be in that position. Coming in number 11 is my guy Prodigy from Mobb Deep. Prodigy, rest in peace. He was definitely one of my favorite rappers. Top 10 for me. At times was in my top 5. But yeah, he's been part of some of hip hop's most classic beats. Shook Ones, and the album The Infamous, Hell on Earth, Quiet Storm song. Just like absolute Mount Rushmore of hip hop legends. Yo, number 10 on the list is KRS-One, known as The Teacher. Came in the 80s with the Boogie Down Productions. He had that legendary beef with MC Shan where he won. He definitely would come into top 10 because a lot of rappers I was listening to in the 90s, they all looked at him like he was like one of the dons, so he definitely should be in top 10. Then you come in number 9, one of the most underrated rappers of all time, Busta Rhymes. He's been around since the early 90s. He goes on big songs like Woo Ha, Got You All in Check, and then you got his album Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See. Very good style of rapper. He's had big songs with like Janet Jackson, everybody in hip hop, Dr. Dre, Mariah Carey. Absolute legend, Busta Rhymes. Next on the list comes in DMX at number 8. DMX I feel like should be top 5, but you can't be mad at top 8. DMX came in with those 2 classic albums that hit number 1 in the same year. Only rapper that first 5 albums went number 1 on the US Billboard chart. And for a gully, kind of grimy, gravelly voice rapper, talked about dark stuff, he was a proper legend. Coming in number 7 is Nicki Minaj. I feel like I understand why they put her this high, because she's had a lot of commercial success. But for me, Nicki Minaj was damn near a pop star. Do you know what I mean? I don't think she should be top 7, but she should be like around that top 20 maybe. But yeah, she's had big songs, big hits. I liked her before she went all poppy with that Starships music and all that. Coming in number 6 is 50 Cent, repping that Queens, New York. 50 obviously came in with an atomic bomb of an album, Get Rich or Die Trying, in 2003. Sold like 12 million worldwide. Big songs, biggest hip hop debut album of all time. Had great albums after that, sold 1 million albums in a week with the second album. Brought out loads of artists, mixtapes, had it on Smash. You know, what can you say about 50? He was a legend, still a legend. But yeah, I would say top 6. Is that a good place for 50? If you're talking about on a lyrical standpoint, probably no. If you're talking about on an impact level and just having a big star, then yeah, you gotta say 50 is in there. Coming in number 5 is LL Cool J, another rapper repping that Queens, New York. LL started in the mid-80s. He was probably the first rapper to have a real proper formula when it comes to this music game in hip hop. He always came out with songs catered towards the ladies, and then he would come out with a big like tough record just to keep that street cred. He was very clever in that sense, but you know, people like Drake and Ja Rule and others have followed suit from there. Coming in number 4, it is Rakim Allah. Rakim, part of that golden era. Probably one of the first rappers to really get that lyrical and deep on songs. You can hear the Nas. Nas was heavily influenced by him. Obviously, a lot of rappers were influenced by him. You know, Eminem's come out, said he's one of his influences as well. Rakim for me should be top 3, or probably 1 or 2. But yeah, you can't be mad at number 4. It's done well. Coming in number 3, you know it's Escobar, it's Nostradamus. Nas comes in, Queensbridge MC. Again, Queens doing their thing. He comes in number 3. Nas has got that longevity coming from that 1993 when he rocked on Live at the Barbecue. To this day, he's still putting out top level albums. For me, Nas should be number 1 or 2. But again, you can't be mad at number 3. We don't even know the criteria anyway. Coming in number 2 is Notorious B.I.G. Biggie. Controversial one, I think, for me, because as much as Biggie is a legend, Biggie only did 2 albums. Like, the first one was amazing. It's in my top 5 albums of all time. The second album was also amazing, but he actually died a week before it came out. And cool, he completed the album. But when you make someone in the top 2, when he only had 2 albums, you compare it to someone like Raekwon and Ghostface and all these other people that have 9, 10, 12 albums. It's like, how does he get ahead of Nas, really, in my opinion? Because him and Nas were on the same level. Biggie might have been just a bit ahead of Nas when Biggie was alive, to be fair. Just a bit. It wasn't like miles ahead. I think if Biggie survived, he would have done even better, because he had that melodic style of rap. But let's go into number 1, people. You probably guessed it. I haven't said his name. It's Jigga Man, Jay-Z. Jay-Z had to be number 1. I think if I was really gonna do a list, I rate Nas higher than Jay-Z. But if I was to do a list, I would put Jay-Z number 1. Only just I would put him number 1. He's just so New York. So is Nas. It'd be, for me, Nas, Jay-Z, or Rakim for that 1, 2, and 3. But you can't be mad at Jay-Z. Jay-Z's had one hell of a run. Before Drake came in with his run, it was really Jay-Z that had the best run in hip-hop. Maybe LL Cool J can rival that. But Jay-Z was like the number 1 rapper for a lot of years. But that's your list from Complex. Shocking list in my opinion. I don't rock with this list. I think the Billboard list was a lot better. I mean, what was the criteria for Complex? I don't know. You got people like AZ, who wasn't even on this list. I mean, how can you make a New York list and not have AZ on there? Do you know what I mean? How do you not have a Lloyd Banks on here as well? Lloyd Banks is one of the best lyricists to come out the last 20 years in rap. But let me know in the comment what you think. Who do you think should have been on this list? Who was in a position that you didn't agree with at all? Leave a comment below and like, share and subscribe to the channel. It's Fresh Hip Hop Opinion. Peace and love.